Hey everybody, Tim Anderson here, aka Renfill. Behind me I've got a fast asleep one there and another one who's down over in there. These are the originals. So if you've been following at any point in time, those came with the house, so to speak. Talk about that a little bit more here in a bit. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfill, aka the Bearded Dwarven Princess sometimes. This is my personal vlog space called Monday Musings, where I just talk about life and everything else. Um, I'm exhausted right now. I'm tired. Haven't had much sleep. About 3 hours of sleep last night. And this morning we didn't get any. Oh, I'm pre-recording this on Saturday, May 21st, at 1:30 in the afternoon. Hopefully I'll sleep after this. The reason we didn't get any sleep is because I always forget what arm I'm in. Their mama. So if you're new here, those of you who've been around a while, you know this. We moved here about 2 months ago. When we arrived, about a week after we arrived, this cat started showing up. And she had a belly on her. We assumed that she was pregnant. Then, after 2 or 3 days of us giving her scraps and stuff, we realized that, oh, her nipples, her tits have already been, the fur's swirled around them. So she's nursing somewhere. So she's already had babies. And, we were just giving her food. It was this cat who showed up. Well, after like 2 weeks of that, she got comfortable coming inside, and one night we didn't know this, but every night she just would go out, and we would shut the doors and go to bed. And one night she stayed in the house somewhere. We don't know where. All I know is I woke up one morning. It was like 5:30. I woke up and the cat was in front of the door to the bathroom, outside of the bedroom, going to the bathroom. I was like, well, "How did you get in here?" And I'm running around. Everything's closed. So she had slept inside somewhere, somehow. And as I'm going, "How did you get in here? What happened?" I hear meowing outside, and one of her babies had followed her to the house and had been outside like all night or something. So brought that one in. It was extremely feral. We estimate they were probably, I think we estimated they were like 4 or 5 weeks old at that point. Feral, that one, and we got it captured, got it in the house, put it in a container, and we're like, okay. And then like 2 hours later, she wanted to go out, so she went out, and then like an hour after that, she came back with another one, and we were like, oh crap, is she bringing more? And then that was all she ever brought was the two, which is the I always forget which direction. These two right here, who we have been raising for basically the last 6 weeks, more or less, something like that. Anyway, midway through the process, we realized that Mama Cat was pregnant already. Again, she's a street cat. And so there's only two vets here in town. We live in a small town and there's nowhere close to here. We don't have a vehicle, blah, 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 blah. Only two vets in town. And the one vet Chris doesn't want to use. The other vet, which has a good reputation, um, that vet was like, well, is she still nursing these two? And we said yes. And she's like, well, I can't spay them until she weans them. And I'd never heard that because they different places do different things. And I grew up in the United States and in Missouri and grew up on a ranch, and the vets just do whatever you want. Like you just tell the vet, I need this cat spayed, and for the most part, unless the cat has a reason why they can't spay or neuter, they will spay or neuter and do all that stuff. They'll take the babies out if you don't want them, and different vets do different things. Not every vet is comfortable spaying a cat who's already pregnant because of ethical reasons for on their part, whatever the case, because they don't want to do an abortion. Because it is an abortion at that point if you're which it is what it is. I know some people might hate me for this, but I am not in a position to have lots of cats. So we tried to sort that out. The vet was like, I'm not going to do it. So then we were like, well, I guess we'll try and just keep her on lockdown and then that lasted like 2 weeks, and we finally got tired because she's just like 2:30 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. She would start jumping on windows and howling, wanting to go out at night. So we finally just started leaving her out at night, and that's just been the routine for weeks. And this morning, like most other mornings, I got up, played Warcraft. 6 o'clock is feeding time. Finished my stream, and it's time to feed the cats. And I go outside the office, and I'm hearing a kitten meowing away outside, and I'm like, it's got to be the neighbors right here. And for those of you who tuned into the celebrations stream I did just chatting, you'll know that those neighbors just lost a kitten like not even a week ago due to their own stupidity. They do not deserve to have animals, and they went and found another kitten right away. Well, that kitten was up on the wall in between our two houses. There's a wall, concrete block wall, and that kitten was up on top of the wall, which is probably like 10, 15 feet high, somewhere in there. That kitten was up on the top of the wall, maybe 5, 6 weeks old, and it's meowing its head off because it's in a new environment. It got stripped away from its family, and anyway, the mother cat, who we called Dora, heard that and has sleeping outside, and she showed up, and I come out of my office to the kitten freaking out and mama cat freaking out because she hears a baby in need, and she starts stressing, and she's calling at the kitten, trying to get the kitten to come down, and it's so high up the kitten can't come down. Not to mention it's not her kitten in the first place, but her mama instincts, because she's ready to burst, and she's all over that. So her mama, she starts stressing out hardcore. We finally bring her in the house. I'm like, you can't, that's not your kitten, you can't anything. Please come inside. So we get her inside the house. She's so instinctual, freaking out, traumatized, whatever. She starts dragging. These are 3-month-old kittens at this point. She literally grabbed them by the back of the neck and is dragging them around the house, like trying to drag these kittens to like a safe place. Like she was totally like traumatized. And then somewhere within 15 minutes of that, she just decided to suddenly go into labor. Um, and then from 7 a.m. until 10 a.m., she was in labor and had 5 kittens. And then, anyway, so now I have 5 kittens. And a cat, which is not my responsibility. I was willing to adopt these two, and I've accepted responsibility for these two. But my hope was that if she was going to have the babies outside again, that's fine. I'll spay and neuter. I'll spay the mom as soon as I can if I can control her, and then we just decided we weren't going to be able to control her. Well, now she had the babies inside of our house, and so I don't know what we're going to do now. I will say this, and I'm gonna come out and openly say this. If any of you out there want to help support us as we, donations, tips, whatever you want to do, um, let me know. You can throw super thanks on this video is the best way to do that, or just get in touch with me directly on Discord, and I'll give you my PayPal information. Because Chris and I will happily take any donations from people who want to help us take care of these animals for the next couple months, because there are no shelters here. There's no animal shelters here where we live. They don't do animal shelters in Mexico like they do in the United States. And that's why there's so many stray cats and stray dogs. Like people just they don't care, they don't spay and they don't neuter. Even the animals they do have, they don't spay and neuter. It's just there's probably 15 cats roaming the streets within like the back two blocks behind our house. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we can cover these two. That's not the problem. The problem is dealing with the 5, because we can't just go drop them off at the vet and say, here, find homes for them. The vet has told us, I will help you find homes for them, and hopefully we will find homes from them, but you have to take care of them until I find homes from them. And it's like, well, I'm not in a position to financially be taking care of 5 additional cats. Like these two were like, I think we can make that work. Like it's not that much extra for a couple of kittens. But we still got to get these two spayed and neutered because they're not old enough yet. They're only 3 months old. And the vet told us she wouldn't do it until they're at least 5. And I'm like, you can do it at 4. Like, I'd like to do it at 4, but we'll see what the vet says. But in any case, I can't even get these spayed and neutered for like another month at least, maybe 2. Um, and then now it looks like we're going to have to deal with an additional 5 kittens plus the mother, and hopefully try to keep the mother locked down. Somebody suggested buying a kennel, and I'm like, that's not money I'm willing to spend because it's a one-time purchase. Like, I'm not raising cats, I'm not raising dogs, like, and the point I'm making is if anybody out there is a generous spirit and wants to help us deal with being unexpected cat dags and to be responsible, I'd like to be a responsible adult and not just let 6 cats, the mother plus the 5 babies out into the wild and continue to propagate. That would not be the responsible thing to do, but I'm also in a position where I'm okay for the next couple of weeks because they'll be nursing on their mama, but when it comes time that they start eating and shitting everywhere, I don't have unlimited funding to take care of all that, plus the wormers and all the cat litter and all that other stuff. So Chris and I are looking at this going, how, what are we going to do with these cats? How is this going to work? So I'm not ashamed to ask people to say, hey, if you would like to support that, please drop a super thanks on this or get in touch with me directly on Discord and I will get you my PayPal information and you can send whatever you can, 5, $10, it all counts. Help buy cat litter and all that stuff, because it adds up quick. And I've got to at least keep these locked down for 2 months until I can get them to the point where they could be adopted. And I got to wait at least 2 months until she starts to wean them before I can go get her spayed. And in order to do that, I got to keep her locked inside. And to keep her locked inside, I got to have lots of cat litter and yeah. So this is not my normal ask because normally I ask you to support the it's like a piece of fabric. It's probably from the chair arm. Normally I would ask you to support my videos and say support the content here, whether it's, video games or books or TVs, pop culture, all that stuff. But today I have a different ask and I'm saying if you feel so inclined to donate to the cause of kittens, feel free. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, um, crazy times. A whole bunch of new members here on YouTube, which is great. Not just subscribers, I mean new members. We have had a lot of people join the Adventurers Guild. Let me go look at the numbers real quick. Um, in the last like week, also over on Patreon, we had like 5 new patrons this week or this month, which the month is only halfway through. We hit 20 patrons the other day. I put up a post in Discord saying thanks to everybody. It's pretty awesome that we're seeing, the continual rise of everything here. All members. Let's look at the last 7 days here. Cantan, Ruinward Gaming, Bounty Code, Edgar, Rift Magos, Maduros, Noble Shield. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new people on YouTube in the last week. It's the last 7 days. And on Patreon, we've also had, let's see, we got some people who are double dipping. Edgar joined the Patreon as well. Alex Shores, Bill Madden, Rift Magos double dipping. He's over on Patreon, and Cantan double dipping over on Patreon. So thanks to all of you who are supporting in both places. That's pretty freaking awesome. Lots of cool growth coming out. This is the last, the 25th is my final day of production on the Weave of the Void 5th edition sourcebook. So all the artwork needs to be inserted in and all the content needs to be in by the 25th. And then everything from the 25th to the 1st is polish and figuring out where I'm hosting it for sale. For those of you who want to do standalone purchases. The easiest way is still always going to be to just go through Patreon and pre-order there. Although pretty soon it's not going to be pre-order anymore. It will just be a regular order, but it's still going to be available for people on the Patreon page with the minimum, subscription of, I think it's at 3 months right now, something like that. There is a minimum subscription requirement to do that. Might be 2 months now. Let me check real quick so I'm not speaking out of turn. Because I know we changed things over when we pulled everything into one book as opposed to two books. We decided to put the first module into this. It's the Dungeon Master. Yeah, it's 3 months, at least 3 months at the Dungeon Master tier is the pre-order for the book. Um, we're going to continue to do that moving forward. So you get a lot more than just the book, though. You get the book, you get um, map packs, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So and all the updates in between. So you're getting much, much more than just the book. Because if you just want to get the book, I think we'll have. I don't know exactly the price point, so don't quote me on this, but probably the PDF will be available for like $30, and then the hardback will be like 50, something like that. You're obviously paying about 45 for the book right now, but again, it's not just the book. You're getting the book, you're getting the map packs, you're getting 3 times a week updates on the Patreon page. You're getting access to the patron only section of Discord. There's a lot more going on than just a simple product, which is what you get if you just buy it, which is why if you just buy it, it's cheaper if that's all you care about is the product. So that should be out here June 1st. We're very close to that. Um, Lots of gaming stuff going on right now. We're obviously doing um, Lord of the Rings Online. We moved that to Tuesday nights. We've got the upcoming multi-stream group for World of Warcraft Classic happening starting Thursdays on June 2nd. Um, we're currently, excuse me, we're currently leveling up those characters. My brother has me. We're doing 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. like Monday through Saturday, like 6 days a week. That'll go down once we do the start date. We will then probably only be leveling like 3 times a week, not 6 times a week. But we're going to be leveling up those characters in anticipation of Wrath of the Lich King later this fall. But in the meantime, we've got the EverQuest TLP server dropping on the 25th. So that's going to be between this episode and the next episode. And I'll be playing pretty hard for the first 6 days that those servers are open. Um, Expect lots of streams here on YouTube. I'll be streaming the whole adventure. I'm leveling an enchanter, which I haven't done for a while. I did an enchanter on P99 like 2014, 15. And then I had an enchanter alt, I think, at some point on one of the TLPs, but I haven't really mained an enchanter for quite some time, since 2014, 15. So it's been 7, 8 years. So I'm going to main an enchanter this time around. So I'll be streaming those adventures here on YouTube. So don't forget to check those out. So you've got pick your poison. We're playing Lotro. We're playing EQ. We're playing and then there's the P99 stream team on Friday nights with myself, Nathan Napalm, Bandicoot Sparrow, so on and so forth. Kel Vendini. Um, we're all together on Friday nights doing P99. Um, then there's the Warcraft group. There's 4 different games that we're playing in between those. And between that, I'm also doing the Xbox. And then we have on Sunday nights, we do D&D streams, which are on the Twitch channel for the Weave and the Void. But in between that, I'm basically streaming every single day. Not necessarily every single night, but I'm streaming at least once, sometimes twice a day. And I am also trying to produce 1 video per day here on YouTube. In other words, I'm treating YouTube like a full-time job. I mentioned this in the last couple episodes. I'm trying really hard to make YouTube a full-time thing. I want this to be my job moving forward. And, for the last 8 years, I've always had a part-time job. I can go get one again if I need to. I'd rather not. I know a lot of people have shown their support over the last week. I had like 4 days in a row where I had people donating, like $5 here, $10 there, doing super thanks on video, $2, $5. I had a $50 day on YouTube one day or excuse me, not 50, over 2 days. So I had like a 20 $8 day and then like a $25 day. So I did like $50. But the way it worked was that those happened between two sessions that were within like 12 hours of each other because one was an evening session and the next one was a morning session. So even though the algorithm counted it as two different days, I counted it as a one day. I counted it as one day because it was within like I did a session, went to bed, woke up, did another session, and each time it was like $25 worth of super chats and super thanks and stickers and stuff. So thank you everybody for doing that. All the new subscribers, members, I should say, all the new subs over at Patreon. A lot of you have begun to show support, and that is awesome. Thank you so much for that. It definitely did a nice uptick in all the right boxes, and it gave Chris and I hope that we might be able to hit the trajectory we need to hit by the end of July for me to consider YouTube as an actual full-time career thing. So I would urge you, if you haven't already done so, there's lots of different ways above and beyond just helping me out being a cat dad. An unexpected, it sucks. It's a street cat. I have no control over that. I should have just turned her away, but I have a soft spot in my heart for cats. I tried to rescue one time in Cancun and lost it. It was just riddled with parasites, and it showed up on my doorstep and was basically dying. And I spent more money than I should have over the course of like 2 weeks trying to save it, and it just didn't make it. Um, 8 or 9 vet trips. It was whatever. Anyway, thank you to everyone who has been doing those things and supporting. And let's continue that onward momentum because I'm about to embark on a whole bunch of craziness starting May 25th because we're going to be doing like 12-hour streams. And my brother wants to do an all-nighter for Nathan said he was willing to do it too. We're going to do an all-nighter with World of Warcraft Classic. And I know we've been throwing numbers around, and we're trying to think, if we could do these and see if we can't get, like a $500 night, where we get like $500 of donations and stuff coming in, and put stream goals up there like dye my beard. Somebody suggested if I cut the tips of my beard off and had Chris then put the tips of the beard on her face to do a role playing scenario during one of our Weave in the Void sessions. Could happen. You never know. Food for thought. Never know. Could happen. On a reading front, I am slowly working my way through the Fellowship of the Ring for the Mondays in Middle Earth series. That's been I'm doing it differently this time. Normally, if I sit down to read a book, I just sit down and read it. And this time around, I've been analyzing the chapters, and so I'm taking it much slower than I would normally. And I'm forcefully only reading like 2 chapters a week. And it's taking me sometimes 2 or 3 nights to read an individual chapter because I'm actually taking my time and taking notes along the way so that I can produce the episodes. So, thanks to those of you who have been enjoying the Mondays in Middle Earth show. I know some of you are reading along. I think Gila said he's watching that through this summer with his kids because they're going to be reading through together. So he was the one who actually made the suggestion that I actually list the chapters that I'm reading through in each episode. So I started doing the chapter breakdown. Um, so yeah, one thing we're not doing right now, which we did a lot of in Mexico City, but we're not doing since we moved to the countryside, is like shows. We used to do a lot of TV, like Netflix and everything else. We're not really doing that right now, not for lack of want, but just because we have different priorities since we moved to the countryside. Like we've been, documenting the entire process of, moving into this place and starting to renovate it and everything else. Um, Accepting a street cat was something that was not expected before we moved here, and that has been more of a not just the street cat, but these two right here. Um, this became something that there was an adjustment period. I had forgotten what it was like to have cats because it's been a very long time since I had animals, and Chris has never had cats, and so just the daily cleaning and lots of laundry and stuff, and also just because the weather here is so different. Like in Mexico City, it's so dry and it's cool. You don't really sweat that often. And so we wouldn't go through the amount of clothing that we go through here. And here, because you sweat all the time, it's like if we go to the grocery store, that set of clothing is done. Like, Hygiene aside, I'm not a dirty person. I take one, sometimes two showers a day, but I'm not above wearing the same clothes for 3 days in a row. If I didn't go anywhere and I didn't sweat, like I have no problem wearing the same shirt, a few days in a row. I don't know what that says about me. Use that as you will. um, but here, because you sweat so much, anything you do, you sweat. We go through, 3 times as much laundry. And so we are having to do a lot more laundry here, which takes up time. Um, and also because just the transition to trying to do full-time YouTube, in between streaming every single day and then content creation on top of everything we're doing for the Weave and the Void, there hasn't been that much time just to sit and watch shows like we did in Mexico City. Because in Mexico City, I had a part-time job. So I never worried about content creation. So I would work my several hours per day. Then I would work on Weaving the Void for a few hours per day. And then the rest of it was Chris and I, we would go to the park every single day. We'd come back, take naps, get up, watch a couple shows. It was a very different routine than what we have here since we moved. And we are settling into a new routine. And once that gets evened out, I'm sure we'll have more time for shows again. But right now, it's just been kind of weird because I'm seeing all the shows come back for their final seasons or next seasons or whatever, and we're not currently watching anything. And there's a part of me that's like, it's kind of a relief to not necessarily be watching all these shows, but at the same time, it's like I would really like to watch the upcoming Obi-Wan show. Like, I like Star Wars, and I really want to be watching the new Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I didn't watch the final season of The Expanse. I still haven't seen that. Haven't watched the most recent season of Star Trek Discovery. I have not watched the new Batman. Like, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to see that I haven't. I haven't done any like TV or films for like 2 months. The new season of Love, Death, and Robots just dropped on Netflix, and I freaking love the first two seasons of that. So there's a part of me that's like, I miss it, but at the same time, I've got more time to read right now, which has been really kind of nice to get back into reading for the first time in a lot of years. But there's just so much good TV. Um, I don't know. We'll see if that makes its way back into the repertoire at some point in the near future. I think right now I'm really happy with where YouTube is going in terms of our growth. Um, I've got one more. I've noticed that though that our audience really only watches the MMORPGs that we play. Every time I play an Xbox game, I don't really get anybody to tune into that, which is also interesting. But I also tend to do the Xbox on in the afternoons, evenings, like 5 to 8, if that makes sense. And I only do the Xbox maybe 2, 3 times a week. I would honestly play it more, except that all the MMORPGs that we're getting involved in right now for multi streams are all PC based, which is fine, but I love the Xbox. Previously, I was on the PS4, and I loved the PS4. I just like consoles. I like console games, and I missed out on. I say missed out on. I could buy it eventually. Elden Ring came out while I was moving. I'm still torn on whether or not I even want to get involved with that because I don't know that I'll like it, if that makes sense. I haven't done the Souls games before. Um, I will say that I was disappointed that Starfield got pushed, but I figured it was going to because I was really looking forward to that. But I mean, some of the games that I'm looking forward to on the next gen console is like the new God of War. Can't wait to play that. The new Harry Potter game. Can't wait to play that. The Pandora Avatar game. Can't wait to play that. Um, Starfield. Can't wait to play that. They just announced a couple days ago Cyberpunk 2077 um, is not Cyberpunk. Yeah, that got pushed back to next year. But The Witcher 3 uh, next gen update is coming in Q4 of 2022, which means this fall slash winter. And I'll be all over that. I've played it twice all the way through on the PS4. I will happily, happily play it again on the Xbox, and I will stream the crap out of that game when I do it because I love that game. And right now, I am getting good I think some of it's just timing because when I stream in the afternoons and the evenings, I tend not to get as many. I tend to have, at least from what I've seen so far, my YouTube audience seems to be geared towards the mornings and into the early mid afternoons. Because when I do Dragon Age in the mornings, I get views. It's just when I do stuff in the afternoons, evenings. But sometimes I like to just do afternoons, evenings. And it doesn't really bother me if there's only 2 or 3 people tuning into a stream. But the problem is that it fucks with your algorithm long term, where it can mess the algorithm and YouTube won't promote your content as much. So that's a downside. And I have something in my eye. Um, it is hot, hot, hot here, ladies and gentlemen, but we are at the tail end of the hot season here where we live. It's going to be 108 degrees today. It's already, I'm going to go look. I get away with the beanie because I'm underneath the air conditioner. It's 101 right now, and it will be 107 by 5 p.m. this afternoon. 5 p.m. is the peak, and it starts cooling down after that, but it takes a long time to cool down. But looking at the weather here, tomorrow it's only going to be 101, and it's supposed to rain all afternoon, theoretically. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, normal, and then next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it looks like it's going to be raining, and it's going to start dropping down into the upper 80s. So we're going to start getting cooler temperatures. And June is when the rainy season starts. And then after June, you get into basically 85 degrees, 90 degrees, 85, 90 degrees. It's still hot, but it's not like you're dying hot. Um, Subtropics. I think we're subtropic. I still haven't actually ever researched that and tried to figure out what are we, because it's not tropical. Tropical. It's not like jungle. It's lush forests and grasslands, but not quite jungle. Although we do have lots of tarantulas and howler monkeys, and they're not actually howler monkeys. There's another word for them, and Chris told me what they're called, and I forget. Cerejuatos, which are not howler monkeys, or some other type of howling monkey, but they're not actual howler monkeys. I don't know. I digress. I'm gonna wrap, everybody. Follow along on the stream stuff because we're doing lots of MMORPGs. Don't forget to join our gaming community if you'd like. Links down below. We've got multiple sections set up in Discord for all the gaming community stuff. Plus, there's the Weave and the Void stuff, so you can keep up to date with all of that. Um, what else? Um, book stuff. Got more coming down the pipeline. Later on today is the next Mondays in Middle Earth series, so don't forget to check that out. And got some more Xbox coming this week. Lots of MMORPG stuff. So I would really appreciate those of you who can. Not everyone can, but those of you who can afford to support those, please show up and do super thanks and super chats and super this, that, and the other, and join as members of the channel. Join over at the Patreon page. We've got goals there. I'd really like. I mean, we are pushing. Nathan's going to be helping push as well, because if we can get that to $3,000 a month over at the Patreon page, Nathan gets a chunk of that for his artwork, and so we're looking at that as the long-term goal here, but we're just getting started with that because the first product is finally coming out on June 1st after having been in development since March 2021. So hopefully we'll see you over there. Otherwise, keep tuning in, keep hanging out. I appreciate all of you, even if you're just hanging out. It's still cool to hang out and chat with people. It all helps with the algorithm because the more people who tune in and watch ads, I still get money for ads, even though it's not a ton. Obviously, if you can help out, cool. And if you could support our street cat project, you could drop a super thanks in the video or just ping me on Discord. And I'll get you my PayPal information. But thanks everybody. Um, oh, and before I forget, this is not related to mine show at all. If you like D&D and Forgotten Realms stuff, Liam from Liam's Lyceum interviewed Ed Greenwood the other day, who's like the creator of Forgotten Realms. You should check that out. It's like a 2 hour long chat. It's really cool. He's a cool guy. Um, I got Mama Cat at the door, so I need to go see what's up. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.